Alert, the beast system is not coming. It is already here. The blockchain that they promised would set you free is actually going to, in the wrong hands, be the perfect prison, locking borders, freezing funds, muzzling voices, all with a single command. And listen, this is how this video is going to go. I want to warn you about these things, warn you about the borders being shut, the banks, the control, the speech control, all of these things that are coming to the earth very quickly, no matter where you are in the world. The second half, I want to jump into a Bible study because I need to equip you with what you need to win this battle. Let's get into it. This is a very serious video. Like it, share it with as many people as possible so that we can get this word out to the remnant that exists in the entire world, from Asia to Europe to Africa to South America to America, everywhere. It has to go to every continent. Soon you are going to see in this world, mark my words, if you are not paying attention, if you understand what I'm saying, leave a comment down below. You're going to see borders will shut. Travel through blockchain IDs across the globe. Paper passports are going to be phased out in favor of digital travel credentials at the end of the day. These digital travel credentials enable seamless biometric-based scanning. No boarding pass is going to be required, especially if you are in Western nations. That means that they are going to unveil a system that allows passengers to store and verify their passport details via smartphone apps. We can already see these things coming into play because when we have our debit cards, obviously you can use Apple Pay and things of that nature. And so it's only a matter of time before passports do the same thing. Now, I'm getting some of this information that you just heard from theguardian.com because they are already actually publishing articles about how this is coming to pass already. So if anybody is still on the fence, like maybe it's not the end times, maybe it's just, I don't know what the objections are, but they're not logical because at the end of the day, you have never experienced, no one on this planet ever in history has experienced anything quite like what we're going to be seeing in the next couple of years. Now listen, these digital travel currency type of things rest upon decentralized identity technology, frequently underpinned by blockchain. This allows border officials to approve or deny your entry instantly with your biometric identity being tokenized and controlled. This is like the double-edged sword of blockchain and crypto, how it can be used. Everything in the earth can be used for good or bad, right? Everything has balance. The human body has a state of homeostasis that is basically the perfect balance between all of the things that are in your body for you to be healthy. If your homeostasis declines in a certain direction, you become too acidic, you have cancer, and all of those things, right? And so everything in nature, everything in life has a balance. But here is the double-edged sword with this blockchain. They are going to tokenize literally your lineage, your identity. Everything that can be tokenized is going to be tokenized. They're going to be tokenizing ice cream. Like, why on earth? But it has to happen and it has to come to pass. Again, stay with me because later in this video, I really want to get into, I pulled a few scriptures that I believe and I know are really going to help you build up your faith through this process, because at the end of the day, the Most High Yahuwah himself says that he exalts his word above his name. And so there are still things that you can find and source in the world, which is your true wealth. The word is everything that you have. By it, you live and have your means, and you have your power, and you have your peace. There are still places in the word that you can activate in the spirit realm right now to manifest in the physical so that you can maneuver through these times the way that my family and I are. You know what? Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy your Sabbath. I hope you're resting well today. But would you mind just liking this video? I would really greatly appreciate it. If you would like this video, I'll give you a few seconds to do so. I thank you so much because here, I'm on a mission to really get this truth and this information out to the entire world if possible. We're hitting people in the Philippines. We're talking to people in Korea. We're talking to people who are in China, people all over in Sweden, in Finland, and all over the place. In Ghana, obviously our channel has been reaching people all over Africa for a multitude of years already. Tanzania, Kenya, South Africa, Mauritius, Seychelles, What other countries have I seen recently? Burkina Faso, everywhere, Egypt, Lebanon. We need to get this message out because I believe that not enough people are talking about this. Too many people don't understand what's happening and they can't see the patterns. They're not notating these things. When I tell you that I am notating everything that is happening in this world, especially when it comes to like the blockchain, the travel type of issues, because it's looking like hyper, super duper surveillance. And so if that interests you, if you find value in that, if you find value in biblical prophecy, go ahead and like this video. Now, in Daniel chapter 7, part of verse 23 says, "It shall devour the whole earth," talking about essentially this beast system. Because soon the banks are going to seize everything with programmable CBDCs and blockchain scripts. We're increasingly heading towards a world where money is not just digital. It's going to be programmable. Central banks are rolling out these digital currencies. In fact, China, they had like the digital yuan already. Again, October 25, you're going to see EU, the European Union, made up of 27 countries, push out their digital EU currency, essentially. And these systems enable fine-tuned control, programmable transfers, adjusted interest rates, or even targeted subsidies. And here's the issue that I also have with this, the way that AI and technology works. I've been working behind the scenes in technology a whole lot, especially since 2021. Okay, and so the way that these technologies works, it can actually receive human bias. And so you think about who are the creators and propagators of these things. They are people that already operate and dominate oppressive spaces, which can be used for things like racism, right? And so you're going to see all these technologies that are going to have the same flaws that humans have, but potentially on steroids unless something else is done with it. Obviously, the scripture says we prophesy in part, and so we receive parts of this to see, okay, this is what's happening. I talk about this with my husband a lot, even with my children. But look, even though we prophesy in part, we are starting to see these puzzle pieces coming together so that we can see a little bit of what the future is going to look like and start to make these maneuvers by faith. Activate Hebrews 11. By faith, we are going to be able to maneuver these things like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when they were literally in the fire. They were in the fire with the lions and they did not get scorched. They did not get eaten by the lions. In fact, the messenger of Yah sat with them. Yahushua was with them, protecting them. So when they came out, they didn't even smell like the fire that they were just in. And you and I in the remnant, just you and me right here, we are in that remnant that is going to be able to bypass these things through understanding. This is the type of understanding. I'm only giving you understanding in part. The rest of the understanding you're going to have to get from the Most High. You're going to have to get it downloaded from Him so that you know how to maneuver and have your being in these times. Check out Hebrews 11. I think the scariest thing about this, to be honest with you, is that there are articles, I've sourced them. This one is coming from McKinsey & Company. McKinsey & Co. is a huge corporate consulting firm. If you are unaware, they're like one of the top ones, but they're openly coming out and expressing what this is going to turn into. Look at this excerpt from them. Because these systems run on permission blockchains, authorities will be able to automatically freeze your funds or restrict your purchases, allowing certain categories only without court orders, turning money into code that obeys centralized control. Again, that is from McKinsey & Company. Now, can we talk a little about speech-controlled blockchain? This is wild, okay? Listen to this. What you see online might feel free, but it's being logged, tracked, silenced. Blockchain isn't just for your ID or money. It's also being deployed to log content provenance. The Content Authority Initiative and Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, C2PA, are working to embed metadata called content credentials. Now, you guys know by trade, I'm a marketing analyst, a retention strategist of 9 years. I've been in marketing for a very long time. And so all of this terminology is just right within my wheelhouse. And it's so interesting how how content and writing used to be free speech. It used to be write what you want, say what you want, whatever type of thing. But now through the crawlers, and I'll have to break that down in another video, because search engine optimization is made possible because Google has these crawlers, which are like these little nanobots that can see certain keywords and then allow you to rank on the top page of Google. But this is not about all of that right now. So back to what I was trying to say, all of this is tying in together to make it so that you're gonna have to be creative in the coming years. You might as well start activating your creative juices when you want to speak and say things that you want to say. When the Most High is giving you a word, you're gonna have to be wise about how you're saying it. Wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove. This is where analogies, this is where we see Yahusha. He's literally talking to the disciples and he's teaching people. Even sometimes as he's speaking to the Pharisees directly, he is talking in code through parables, through stories, for a reason. I'm so blessed and glad that he actually left that example, because obviously he knew we would need that example in this specific time, but the people alive didn't know what we would be going through. But you should really read the 4 Gospels and really get into how he's using these analogies and parables, because soon we're going to all have to talk that same way. So as of 2025, especially right here in August, adoption is modest for right now, okay? But top experts are going to push broader standardization, okay? Cloudflare is even breaking this tech, enabling verification images via Adobe tools across 20% of the internet images. Now that is coming from TheVerge.com. Researchers are even discussing proof of humanity systems, or OSI layer frameworks, where ISPs and providers certify that content is human generated. Now, I don't necessarily see an issue with that, but again, double-edged sword, it can be used in 2 ways. This effectively makes every digital action traceable directly to your identity, okay? We are going to literally see, just like Amos chapter 8, verse 11, a famine for hearing the words of Yah, a famine of hearing the true prophecy, the biblical narratives. There's going to be a famine, and we're going to have to get creative. So borders, banks, speech are all now running on the blockchain, a programmable entity, essentially, okay? If it gets in the wrong hands, it is going to result in the beast system. And, we know it's going to get in the wrong hands. We know Revelation says that these things are going to happen. We already know that this is basically a guarantee if we are remnant believers. And even if you are new to being a believer, I implore you to get in your scriptures, because I can promise you there is no adequate text that can display these things the way the Bible does. Not even just the Bible, but also Jasher, Jubilees, Enoch, the hidden books. There are other hidden books called the Apocrypha that also coincide with the scriptures, okay? And so you are going to have to read and study to show yourself approved. But in this video, we talked so much about the issues. I want to give you some scriptures. I want to give you some tangible faith that you can use to get through these times. And I pray that it blesses you in Yahushua's name. I want to start with this one, Revelations 14 and 12. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commands of Yah and keep their faith in Yahusha. Let's move over to Hebrews 11. This is going to be extremely important. I want to pick out a few. Now faith, pause, is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. By faith, Noah, being warned of Yah, of things not seen yet, moved with fear. My gosh, is that literally what the scripture says? Moved with fear and prepared an ark. Okay, I want you to move with a healthy level of fear, as was imparted from Yah to Noah, because it was that healthy level of fear that allowed Noah to prepare before the big storm came. Remember, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. Essentially what Yahushua was saying to you when he was on this earth is that you're going to have to look back to Noah's time, see how he prepared, and you should also be prepared like that and understand that the hybrids, the splicing off the technology at that time is going to come back, but it's going to be modernized and it's going to be accelerated, okay? Hebrews 11:13 says, these all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off. Now we are those who are alive during this time, have by the blood of Yahushua received the promises. So how much more should we walk in authority, in the audacity to believe that the Most High is, can, and will move for us even in the last days? Psalms 91 is always good. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahuwah, he is my refuge and my fortress. I am not moved. Psalms 91, 5-6. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that flies by day, or the destruction that wastes at noonday. Isaiah 26:3. You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts in you. Habakkuk 2:3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come, and it will not tarry. Romans 8:38-39. Neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, or powers shall be able to separate us from the love of Yah. Understand 2 Timothy 1:7. Yah has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Revelations 14:12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commands of Yah and have faith in Yahushua, okay? Now, there are so many more where that comes from. I was in Isaiah 45:3 earlier. There are just so many of them, okay? Even when we think about Isaiah 10 verse 1, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed. There is so much going on in this earth, but I want you to get used to getting in the word. What a lot of people don't understand, what you see here on this channel is a culmination of speaking the word way back before we ever moved to Africa, repeatedly meditating on the word, activating the word, and then turning away from systems that are obtuse to Yah. To be obtuse means to be totally apart from something, in disagreement with. And I'm using that descriptive word so that you feel how urgent it is to come out of her, my people, okay? It's so bad to the point where I see, or maybe it's a good thing on the side of the people that are in America, that are white Americans that get it, okay? On the side of those of us who are black, or whoever, whatever you like to call yourself, it is bad on our side because a lot of us have gone back to sleep. I was reading Ephesians 6, was it 5 or 6 yesterday, and it said, we ought to not sleep as some do, but we should be awake and be vigilant. We should be sober-minded. It does not benefit you to be asleep in the end times. Revelations 13 is going to come to pass whether you like it or not, whether you're prepared or not, whether you receive the instructions of Noah or not, whether you receive the instructions and the advice that Yahushua gave. And here's like a little tidbit. Don't take what Yahushua says as just a kind little consideration, like just something to put on a note. When Yahushua says, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man, that means I should be studying the days of Noah relentlessly. Not only that, but I should have the mindset to put on a spirit of Noah so that I would get the escape, because faith without works is dead. Now, I hope that y'all understand this on this Shabbat. I hope that you get in the word. And I want you also remember to separate yourself from those who cannot receive this word. Separate yourself from those who cannot receive the word. There's a verse in Isaiah that says, those who speak not according to the prophecies. It is because there's no light in them. I don't have time to beat around the bush to you. We're not in a season where I can beat around the bush in a good mindset. I just can't do it. I have to tell you straight, if people do not see what's happening, if people do not come in agreement with prophecy that is already written in the scriptures, let them go quickly, as fast as possible, okay? Because we are coming to a point where you will regret not being obedient to the Most High, but you will regret listening to man over the one who created, founded, and loves your soul. Be blessed, be discerning, If Yah has called you to move, move. If he tells you to go to the Bahamas, go. If he says go to Ghana, go. If he says go to Botswana, go. If he says go to Croatia, then go. Whatever he tells you to do, do it. Because your soul on Judgment Day is more important than what any human, what any friend, what any whoever, your cousin, I don't care who it is. Yah himself, his instructions, if he himself puts his word above his name, and his name is so mighty and high, but he places his word above the greatness of his name. If he himself does that, then who are you to do anything different? Shalom, shalom. Prepare, do what the Most High calls you to do. Get in your scriptures, and I'll see you in the next video. Be blessed.